We've brought together our pick of the 6 best hot hatches under 60 grand to see which is best and which one you should buy. Yesterday we had them on track to see who is the fastest, and you can check that video out right here. With such a wide selection of hot hatches available here in Australia, choosing our top 6 has been quite the challenge, and yet one of them isn't technically a hot hatch, but with a budget of 60 grand, an STI is the logical wildcard. But without further ado, let's meet our judges and our contenders.
Golf R. It's like it's like an old shoe. It just fits so nicely. It's great to drive, and I reckon it's got the pep for this kind of road.
I reckon this environment's really going to suit the Golf R's characteristics.
I think the Golf R is probably the most normal car of all of them, but I'm looking forward to seeing how we go when we put the foot in the throttle.
Type R is a bit of a weapon. It's got a long family history of, good on-road performance machinery, so I really think it should do okay. I reckon it looks a bit stupid.
Type R was great fun on track, but I don't know how playful it's going to be here on the road.
Ford Focus RS, the grip is insane, but I don't know, I'll see how it goes here.
Thing's an animal on track, so I hope it's not too much of an animal out here on the twisties.
Focus RS is pretty wild, and it's got a reputation for being wild, so it should do all right. I don't know, I grew up with these cars and they were always fun to drive, but I just haven't kept up with the times.
Feels a bit of a heavy car, but I don't know, I'm looking forward to jumping into the seat and see how it goes.
STI is it's one of those enthusiast appeal cars, so I feel like less polish and more just get up and go.
Yep.
Peugeot, French, I can't see the speedo. We'll see.
Punchy little 1.6 litre engine, so I reckon it might go pretty good on a twisty road.
308 GDI is probably the plushest looking thing here, so I don't know whether it's going to be able to live up to its performance potential on those grounds.
The i30N, I'm so looking forward to hearing those shotguns echo through the mountains here.
It's a little disappointing on track, but I reckon it's going to redeem itself out here in the country.
As a first attempt from Hyundai, it'll be really interesting to see whether it can do what it says it does.
This test has nothing to do with who's fastest. It's all about which car is the most rewarding to drive on road. In part 1 we crunched the lap time and performance numbers, but for this test we've thrown out the stopwatch and we're here to see which car delivers the most fun.
This is probably the most confident car I've been in, being all-wheel drive. I know I could, really throw it around and not really have to worry. I just wish it sounded better.
I feel like the Golf R is the ultimate cross-country tourer. It's quiet, it's comfortable, but gee, it's quick. Okay, for the average punter, this is going to be the more accessible drive. It's just so easy to point and shoot. But when you start pushing towards the outer limits, it's just not quite as sharp as some of these other cars.
It's much better on road than it is on track. You'd swear it's a different car.
This thing has got an amazing harmony between brakes, steering, suspension, gear shift. It is like a racing simulator, but real.
So much fun. It sounds good, it feels like there's unlimited power even climbing up through those mountains, so this thing's cool.
Absolutely epic. Red line, 7,000 RPM. You just literally bury the throttle and it just keeps going. It is absolutely stupid.
What you can't see is my heart pounding and my hands shaking. This thing scared me. In terms of negative, it's got a really rough ride. It's probably the roughest of all the cars.
It just doesn't come together quite as well for the driver on road as it does on track.
Focus RS is the one car that makes you want to do that loop again and again and again. It is so much fun. Holy crap, this thing is crazy. Where the Subaru feels just a tiny bit lethal, this thing is just precise, awesome steering, and the way it delivers torque is just next level.
The STI is just such a weird car. All the controls are just funky and it's just not confidence inspiring.
Just as I thought, this felt quite heavy. The peak torque didn't really kick in until about 2800 RPM, and going over some decent bumps, there was actually some rattle in the steering rack.
Okay, so this is going to sound a little complicated, but this is like sending post compared to sending an email. It takes a little while to come on, but when you receive it, it's so much more fun than opening an email. So that's what I think of the Subaru. I reckon underneath an impenetrable layer of shit ergonomics, there's a really good hot hatch dying to get out in this car.
The seats actually sort of kept me in them pretty well, but I felt that it was just rolling a bit too much, and I missed a couple of gears, so finding some of the gears was a little bit hard.
1.6 feels a lot punchier than half the other engines here. It's strange.
Wow, I had the window down the entire time. It's 10 times better having the window down because you can just hear the crackle and the pops of the exhaust. It's actually much more nibble than I thought it was going to be around those really tight corners. And the steering's just a nice amount of heaviness to it, which I really like.
Forget the ends down on numbers. This thing is 100% satisfaction on a country road. It's brilliant.
See that? I drove the whole thing with the window down because it sounds so cool. Everything is accessible, you can feel the limits. I mean, this is a performance bargain. So this is such a charming little thing, but the steering in particular is fantastic.
Taking home the wooden spoon, the Subaru WRX STI Spec R. It was once the benchmark when it came to all-wheel drive affordable performance cars, but in this company, it's been left behind. This package worked 15 years ago when the Japanese methodology was fresh, but it's no longer a player in the game. It just felt old and not in the nice nostalgic way. In fifth, we have the Peugeot 308 GTI. The 1.6 surprised us with great low-end punch. Its lack of mass also helped with that, but we found it ran out of top end when you're really pushing it. The biggest issue for the driving fun factor with ergonomics and its quirky French nature. They're so odd they're distracting from the overall experience. The staggered pedals, oddly sized and positioned steering wheel, and lack of gauge vision all worked against it, and it lacked a level of playfulness and that final polish that the next four cars exceeded in. This is bound to create some controversy. The Focus RS in fourth place. Look, as we showed in part 1, it was by far the fastest on track, and it is incredible when being punted at 10 tenths. However, below 10 tenths and away from the track, its harsh ride just lets it down, and it's such an edgy firecracker of a car, it's almost borderline frightening, and some of the judges just didn't consider that to equate to sheer fun on the road. Fast, yes, but not as complete a package as our top 3. In third place, the Volkswagen Golf R. It's brutally fast in a straight line and totally proved its mettle on the twisty stuff. It was one of the most favourable on road and would be a delight to drive every day, but like the Focus RS, fast doesn't necessarily mean fun, and in this company, 2 other cars delivered more driver satisfaction. Not the outright fastest by any means, actually it was the slowest on track, but for sheer balance, friendliness and just fun, the i30N puts a huge smile on your face. On road it is just so sweet, balanced and very capable, and it just feels so fast. It just gives and gives, and even though it wasn't fast on track, it's properly quick on twisty back roads. If any car in the group bats for the driver, it's the i30N. Leaving Honda's Civic Type R as our winner. Not only is it the most potent and capable front driver, it delivered a level of involvement that even the all-wheel drive cars just couldn't match. It balanced its incredible pace with so much feedback and predictability, and it's so fast and it's so fun. Okay, its looks might not be at everyone's tastes, but it backed up its outright pace with a level of competency and enjoyability that was just outstanding. And don't forget, this car came second on track, but it comes first on road, and it's unbeatable in this field. An absolute future classic and a very special machine. After over 1,000 kilometres on some of Australia's most beautiful and challenging roads, this has been one of the most enjoyable tests we've ever done. And to see how these 6 hot hatches ranked when we combined the objective performance figures with the subjective seat of the pants impressions, click on the link or jump on caradvice.com for the full story.